So I got a notification on my phone. So I was out getting groceries. Not those kind of groceries. If you know, you know. Got a message from one of my buddies about this post that was going around, supposedly from a CIG community member, but it was a fake. It's going around, but people know that it's a fake at this point. And what it's about is about opting out of PvP, which I just dismissed it because it's a fake post, and you know. But then I started thinking about it. Well, people like that. A lot of people are into the idea. Let's talk about that. So I'm not going to go line by line, but if you check it out, what's supposed to happen is at regeneration terminals, there's supposed to be the option to opt out, and it's supposed to be that way because they don't want you to do it in the middle of a drug trade, so which will let you move that weight with impunity. It's supposed to be a 24-hour cooldown on this. Your ships will no longer display blue, but now green. But there's no green indicator if you're opted out of PvP if you're on foot, which could cause some confusion. Somebody sees you, they try and shoot you. They're cursing up a storm. Well, I know I hit him. That kind of thing. Other players can't damage you. You can't damage other players' ships. And your ship is automatically locked out from anybody boarding it unless they're in your party. If you're opted out and you get a crime stat, then all bets are off. You lose that. And then it'll be re-enabled after you clear your crime stat. Here's a goofy line. Outside of the crime stat exception, should any player harm, kill, or steal anything of yours, record this and report the player to customer service. Yeah, I'm sure CIG wouldn't be dealing with that all day. How this is supposed to be balanced. Mission payouts reduced by 40%. Mining yields reduced by 40%. Salvaging a ship returns 40% less material. Anything you find will sell for 40% the value. Buying prices for cargo are unchanged, but selling them will only be 40% of their normal value. We're aware this severely inhibits cargo gameplay for those that opt out, and we're investigating solutions for future patches. I mean, whoever wrote this like really went in to make this seem plausible. Future changes will adjust cargo so it still impacts profits, but not in a way that makes it this difficult to run cargo without making UEC. I don't know how that would work. So you would be opting in to make way less money, but you won't get shot down. PvP settings will be an option selected on character creation. So I'm not sure how that's supposed to work, is if you have to go to the medical terminal to opt out or whatever. A UI element when pointing an FPS gun at a player who has opted out of PvP will be added. Reputation gains will also be adjusted, likely not 40%, but we're going to roll this out later when we wipe reputation. Allow PvP opt-out players to take bounties and engage in PvP against that bounty without enabling PvP across the board. So even if you're opted out, it would still let you take bounties. That would be the exception to the opt-out rule. So with that, let players take bounty missions against you. It's an interesting pitch, and I think it is kind of a pitch to CIG. You might want to put that out there to see what people's response will be, and hopefully that would influence CIG into making that a thing. I get why people would want to opt out. When I was playing Elite Dangerous, I was in whatever, I can't remember the name of the server, but it was a server that had rules against PvP. So if you PvP, then you got kicked out. And it worked for me great because I was able to hop in the server, get some footage that I need to record to make a video without worrying about somebody trying to mess up what I was doing. But now that I play Star Citizen and you're forced into being in situations where you might encounter other players that can possibly do you harm, that's what makes it exciting. People used to tell me that in Elite Dangerous and I just kind of ignored it. Because why would I want to risk what I'm doing at the whim of some other player? But I think there's more to gain with not being able to opt out than you would lose by possibly getting killed by another player. It happens, it can be annoying sometimes, but some of the coolest gameplay emerges just because you have those confrontations. Sometimes they're not always confrontations. Sometimes it's a standoff and you both realize that neither one of you wants to fight. And you become buddies, and you might get a lifelong friend, or you might get a friend for the day, or you might get drawn into an engagement and you discover that you like PvP more than you thought you would. I know that's been the case for me lately. I've been out there searching for bounties to take down. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. Losing a little bit more than I'm winning right now, but I'm getting better. But long term, I wonder if CIG would be willing to entertain this kind of idea. Elite Dangerous didn't create servers like this, but they didn't intervene on specialized servers where that was the rules, where you could not PvP. And the people who ran or owned, or I don't know how the servers work, whoever was running that situation, they enforced the rules. Like if you PvP, then you were kicked out of that server. I wish I could remember the name of it, but I was in there basically the whole time I was in Elite Dangerous. GTA Online has something similar. Like right out of the menu, you can just turn off PvP and you can see each other, but one person is like kind of a ghost. He's semi-transparent and you can't shoot him or anything. The thing about it on there, you can click it on and off at will. I think there's maybe like a, I don't know, 10-second cooldown or something like that. So you can shoot somebody, then opt out real quick. I think you maybe got, I I don't know, maybe 10 seconds, and then you're a ghost. And people abuse it. The way this person proposed it, it doesn't sound like you could abuse it. I mean, where there's a will, there's a way, and you've seen all the craziness that that players get up to in Star Citizen. I personally don't think that CIG would ever implement something like this. I think the game that they envision kind of depends on those interactions, those clashes, those mushed together piles of humanity, and those meetings of the mind. It would feel like those guys weren't participating with the rest of us, that they're kind of playing their own separate game, which might be attractive to them, but then it kind of builds these camps, just like there is in Elite Dangerous. You got people that play in open, and then people that play on the private servers, which are the ones that I was talking about. The people that only play open complain that the people on the private servers are affecting the background simulation, and there's nothing that they can do about it because they're not participating with each other on the same servers. And it can cause the power play stuff, the faction stuff, the guild stuff, whatever you want to call it, or all of the above, to be kind of unfairly affected. I think the better option is just to be prepared. I did a video on it. There's some steps that you could take to lower the risk of getting mollywopped. Protect yourself at all times, boss. I remember a long time ago, CIG was talking about private servers that you could rent or buy or something. This is like when I first started. I don't know if that's still supposed to be a thing at some point. How it was supposed to work was that you basically got a scaled down version of the verse, which I don't know how that would work, but it seems like a lot of work. Extra work, and they got a lot of stuff on their plate. But again, I can see the appeal of it because you can go out there and live your best space life in kind of a single player way. But then this isn't a single player game. This is living amongst all the space thugs, all the space cool people. You can make space friends, make space enemies. Find yourself linking up with some people you just bumped into. This is one of those things that's born of fear. Don't fly afraid, fly dirty, citizens.